Hi everybody, good afternoon. I hope that you will enjoy this video. The topic is football and Barcelona. So every week I prepare a video in relation to football, specifically the vocabulary, the expressions, and today I will analyze an article in relation to La Liga and Barcelona. Okay, and in general, articles in relation to sports and football are really great to learn English because they are very colorful and the vocabulary is really extravagant and really strong. So here is an article from ESPN. It's an American company and they write about soccer, all sports, and La Liga as well. So here is the article. And the title is about money for Barcelona. So here's the title at the top. Barcelona have no money for transfers. So how can youth help them out of crisis? Okay, so that's the topic title. And it's a long article, but I will analyze a few paragraphs and a few pages just to show you some vocabulary and grammar. So here is the text. But first, before we begin the analysis, I want to explain some technical vocabulary, some technical structures in English, because it's a good way for you to remember the important parts of English, and it's very important in my explanation of the technical vocabulary. Okay, so here is the document, the same as this morning. So very quickly, I will explain just some concepts that are very key. Okay, so there's one area, the use of English. In this area, we have phrasal verbs. So a phrasal verb is a verb and a preposition, and it has a literal significance, but sometimes there is a double significance with a completely different meaning. Okay, so basically it's a verb plus a preposition, and it can have a different meaning completely. And in English, we use them all the time, every moment, every conversation, every situation. And to learn English, it's so important that you're clear with phrasal verbs, but it's a very big area. Okay, idioms are like expressions. In Espanol, it's phrases hechas, and they're very common in conversation and in articles as well. So that's an idiom and phrasal verbs. Okay, so if we move now to the tenses and the times, so basically you have the present simple in English, I eat, present simple. Past simple, one action in the past, I ate. Irregular, majority, well, a lot of verbs in the past are irregular, and the regular are ed, but irregular are unpredictable. Okay, and then you have the future simple as well, one moment in the future. Also, we have the continuous, the present continuous, and the structure is estoy bebiendo. I am eating, I am drinking, I am going, the verb to be, and the gerundio in the present continuous. Okay, the past continuous is a similar concept, and the structure is the past. I was eating, I was walking, I was talking, and the future is very similar as well, except the future of the verb to be. I will be eating, I will be going. Okay, so that's the continuous. Finally, we have the perfect, the concept of the present perfect. It's an action in the past that's related to the present, and the construction is with the verb to have plus the participle. In Espanol, it's haber plus the participle, but in English, it's to have plus the participle. That's the present perfect. I have eaten. It happened in the past, but it's relevant to the present because now I am not hungry. Then there's the past perfect, which is a period in the past before another action in the past. And the construction is subject I had, verb to have in the past, had, eaten, participle. Okay, that's the basic concept of the perfect. It's possible in the future. And then finally, the concept of the infinitive. In English, the verb in the infinitive, like the base, is to eat, to go, to drink, to have, to talk. In Espanol, it's para beber, para comer, para hablar. Okay, that's the infinitive, to eat, to go. Also, active and passive is an important concept as well during my classes and presentations. So the active is the subject, the verb, and the object. And then the passive is the object, extra verb to be, participle of the original verb, and the subject. So it changes position. Okay, and here's one example. The hunter was killed, the hunter killed, the verb. In the past simple, the lion is the object, and then the passive is the lion. Extra additional verb to be in the past was participle of the original verb killed by the hunter. Okay, so those tenses, the perfect, the continuous, the simple, they're important in my explanations. Finally, the grammar, we have the concept of a noun or a substantive, substantivo in Espanol, un cosa, un person, a place or a thing. Okay, un persona, un lugar or a cosa is a substantivo. Tenemos countable or uncountable. Substantivos, pero adjetivos están muy importante. Adjectives describe the noun. For example, book, red, red is the adjective. Yellow, yellow jacket, yellow is the adjective. Tired, tired man, tired is the adjective. Okay, so that's the concept of the adjective. Adverb is with ly, and in Espanol it's mente, suavemente, lentamente, and in English it's ly, slowly, softly. Okay, we have another concept of the modal verbs. So can is a modal verb, and basically can is related to ability. I can speak Japanese, I can eat lots of chocolate, I have the ability. And it's also permission. You can go, you can speak, you can eat, it's permission. Okay, could is possibility. Could, may, and might are modal verbs for possibility. You could go to the cinema, you may go to the cinema, you might go to the cinema, it's optional, and they're very, very similar. And basically may and might are maybe more formal and more polite. Shall is more old English and very, very formal, similar to will. Should is for recommendation and advice, consejo in Espanol. So recommendation, you should watch the movie, you should go to the cinema, you should speak to your friend. That's recommendation or advice. Okay. Must is obligation. So you must eat this, you must speak to him, you must is obligation. Always after the modal verb, it's the infinitive of the verb eliminating to. Always eliminate to after. I must go, I can go. Never. The mistake is to go. I must to go is the error. So always we eliminate the to. Okay, so that's the concept of the modal verbs. Then the concept of the prepositions. We have 150 prepositions in English, more or less. And here's just a small list of the prepositions. And there may be, well, they're so important. They're so important that if you understand them, they're really key. Okay, and it's about the position or the movement. So in, at, on, over, under, beside, behind, many prepositions. Okay, then just finally the difference between this, that, these, and those. So this is singular, position here. That is singular, position, fuera, away. These is plural, aquí, and those is plural, away. Okay, so they're just important concepts for the class in general. Okay, so now we can continue to the article about Barcelona, and here's the beginning. So I will read the text of a few paragraphs for pronunciation, and then after the pronunciation I can explain the grammar and the vocabulary, okay, and the topics. So Barcelona are in the midst of a crisis with reports of 1.2 billion euro debt, 730 million euro owed short term, no president, no sporting director, or even a board to take decisions. Star player Lionel Messi's future still unresolved, despite his contract running out in the summer and sitting 10 points behind La Liga leaders Atletico Madrid. It's been a chaotic 12 months for the Catalans, yet among the doom and gloom, there's a feeling that the tide is slowly turning on the pitch. So already one paragraph and really great expressions, great vocabulary. And I want to explain some of the vocabulary because it's really interesting, okay? So here you can see my text, and that's the first point, okay? So in the circle is for preposition, a very small circle you can see here. And here I want to explain the difference between no and not, okay? So no is for substantivo, no time, no energy, no food, no patience, no money. So no for substantivo, not for the adjective, not happy, not tired, not hungry. Okay, very important difference between no and not. Also for the verb in the negative, it's not. I do not have, I do not like. So very important. Not is for adjective and also verb, and no is for substantive. And here substantivo is money, dinero. Entonces it's no. And for is the preposition for money for you, money for me, money for him, money for transfer. So the verb is to transfer. And in football, in sports, to transfer is the movement of one player to another club. Okay. How can, that's an example of the modal verb. You remember the ability, modal, can. And after the modal, the next verb is in the infinitive, eliminating to. So help is a ayudar, and we eliminate to, so can help. And the position of youth is flexible. okay? But it's in the middle in this case. And youth are jóvenes, okay? So young is joven, pero jóvenes, the people are the youth. So the substantivo is the youth and the adjective is young, okay? And I go to right here. Young is the adjective, and I make the text a lot bigger, obviously, so you can see. Young is the adjective. And the juventud, creo que en español, juventud, algo como eso. The youth is the substantivo, okay, the noun or the substantive. So very, very good example. And here the youth, the substantive, help them out. So that's a preposition and a phrasal verb. Help out. Help is the verb. Out is the preposition. A perfect example of a phrasal verb. And it's the same, ayudar. But in, they're in a problem. They're in a difficult situation. So help them out of the problem. Help them out of the difficult situation. That's the concept of the movement of the preposition here. Okay? Very good. In this example, this is the first paragraph. So the first expression is in the midst of. Very, very good quality English, very fluent, very cohesive, and it means in the middle of. So we are in the midst of a pandemic. We are in the midst of the winter, in the middle of. It's a bit more formal to say in the middle of, okay? Preposition is in. This word is debt, dueda or duda, okay, with money. If you have money, that obligation to pay the other person, you have the debt, dueda, okay, algo como duda. But you need to be careful because we have two words in English, doubt and debt. So debt, with three words, we've also debt, okay, so let me explain. So this word, the pronunciation is the B, silent B. So we do not pronounce the B. So it's debt, okay, so here the B pronunciation is silent. So you have a lot of debt. Barcelona have a lot of debt to pay. So the pronunciation of the B is silent. The other one is la muerta, okay, the death. And the pronunciation is very, very similar, practically the same. The death and death, and there's a different word completely, do that, doubt, okay, doubt, and the B is almost silent there as well. So there's three words for pronunciation that are very important and the significance are completely different. The debt is la muerta, the debt is the money that you owe, deber para pagar, and doubt are dura. Okay, and here it's the money owed. So that's the verb owe, deber. Okay, so I owe you €2, you owe him €1, to owe, deber, in relation to money. Okay, so that's the verb to owe. And it's a past simple here, owed. Again, no is for the substantive, so no president. Substantivo is the president. Entonces, it's no. Sporting director, or even is incluso. And board is for the company. And the most important people in the company are the board. And with word reference here, I'm going to show you so you're clear. Very important vocabulary in the company. The group of senior people in the company that make the decisions are the board. And here you can see for the company, consejo, junta or consejo, very, very important. So here, the board are, the club do not have a board at the moment. Apparently there is no consejo, no junta, okay? Lionel Messi's future still, so still here is todavía or aún, okay, still, and in English you need to be clear with still and yet. Usually yet is at the end of the sentence in the present perfect, and still is todavía or aún, okay? Despite, a pesar de, despite the problem, despite the situation, substantivo, pero con un verbo is gerundio. Entonces, despite going, despite having, despite meeting, that's one possibility, verb in the gerundio, and the second possibility is the substantivo, despite the problem, very important. Also, in relation to despite, we have another word that's exactly the same, but the structure is a little different, in spite of. Exactly the same, but be careful. Despite and in spite of, very important, because never, the mistake is common, and the mistake is despite of. That's the mistake. That's the error. Okay, so always it's despite, solo, or in spite of, a pesar de. Okay, so siempre. Okay, despite or in spite of. Running out, this is another example of a phrase, a verb, very important. The verb to run is corre, and out is fuera, and it means you have no more. Okay, so for example, my food in my kitchen, in my house, I have food, this quantity, and we continue to eat. Entonces, perder, we are losing food, and falta, a lack of food. So we are running out of food. Very famous phrasal verb and very important here. The contract is running out. They are losing the contract. The time, he only has maybe a few months left in the contract remaining. Okay, in is for the season, in the winter, in the spring, in the summer, in the autumn. So in for the season, temporano. Okay, and here's the summer. Sitting, so the verb is to sit down, but also it's related to position for an object or position for a place. For example, Trinity College in Dublin sits at the end of the street, location. Okay, and in sports, the team Barcelona at position, sitting 10 points behind, another preposition, behind La Liga leaders, Atletico Madrid. It has been, this is an example of the present perfect. Remember in the introduction, it is the subject, has is the auxiliary verb with a contraction. So it has been is the participle. So that's an example of the present perfect. It started in the past, but it's relevant to the present. Okay, it has been a chaotic 12 months because it continues to be chaotic a little. Yet, so remember, yet and still are practically the same, but yet is necessary at the end of the sentence. Sin embargo, however, when you have yet at the beginning of a sentence, the significance is however, sin embargo. Okay, and here's a very good example of however, sin embargo. Among is like with or amid, or probably con in Espanol, with. For example, we are among friends, we are in the middle of friends, we are with friends. Okay, among the chaos, in the middle of the chaos. In the middle of is probably quite similar, so very good preposition, quite formal, but it's important to know because it's quite common. Okay, this I love because it's a very famous expression, the doom and gloom. Doom is very depressing, it's the end of the world, you know, doomsday, it's the end of the world. So doom is very depressing, very sad, and here it's the substantivo, and gloom is also a substantivo here. But gloom is possible in the adjective for the weather. The weather is very gloomy, it's very dark, it's very grey, it's very depressing. Okay, so very, very good vocabulary and a very famous expression. Gloomy, sad, depressing adjective. So here in this case it's the substantivo, the doom and gloom, but it's a very good expression. The next expression is also very colourful and excellent. So the tide is in relation to the ocean. When the ocean comes to the shore, Gandia, shore, okay? When the ocean comes to the shore, we say the tide is in, and when the water moves away, we say the tide is out. So the tide is related to the ocean in the movement, okay? But in life or in sports, you can say the tide is turning. So the sensation, the feeling, the positivity is changing. Very good expression. And here they say the tide, like the form is changing on the pitch. So pitch is pista, campo, lo siento, pitch is campo, the football pitch or the football field, two possibilities, football field, football pitch, and the preposition is on, because on is typical for the surface, on the table, on my chest, on my shoulder, on the wall, on the floor, on the roof. So for surface, it's on, and the pitch is a surface, and for that reason, it's on. Okay, very good. So we continue with the next one. Okay, I will go back to the original article. Okay, so that's the first paragraph, and the second paragraph. While the league title already seems out of reach, there is some cause for optimism. Barca sit third in La Liga despite a run of poor results and are still in the Copa del Rey and Champions League, which compares well to their supposedly crisis-free arch rivals Real Madrid, who are only 3 points ahead of them in second place and who suffered an embarrassing defeat to third tier Alcoyano in the Copa. Okay, so very good vocabulary for sure. So let's go back to the text. And while is mientras. Okay, it's possible at the beginning of the sentence, while, and it's possible in the middle, meanwhile. So very similar words. While is necessary at the start. It's possible in the middle also, but meanwhile is necessary in the middle. Okay, so I will write this word. Meanwhile is the same as mientras, as while, but the position is necessary in the middle of the sentence with meanwhile. Whereas, however, while is more flexible. Okay, seems is parathere. It seems a very good day. She seems a very good person. He seems a very good person. Parathere. Out of reach, very good expression. So reach is alcanzar. Reach the sugar. Reach the chocolate. Reach alcanzar. And out of reach is fuera. Fuera de alcanzar. It's not possible. Impossible to reach. Okay. So the title, the victory, is not possible to lograr, achieve in English, to achieve, lograr in Espanol, or to reach, or to get, to obtain. Okay. Sit. Remember the verb to sit, and the past simple is sat. Sit, sat, sat. Despite, a pesar de. Two possibilities, despite or in spite of. A run. So the verb is to run, corre, pero a run in English is como un rancha, creo que en Español, in deportes, como un period. A run is a period, okay, of poor results. Poor is peor, or pobre, no lo siento, pobre is poor, so resultados pobre, muy malos, bad results. Still, todavía. In is the preposition for the cup, the copa, in Espanol, copa, in English, cup. So you're in the cup because it's the container, it's the object. Compare is connected with to. Compare you to my friend. Compare Madrid to Barcelona. Compare Dublin to Rome. Compare something to. Okay, that's the preposition. Arch rival. So rival is no problem. Your enemy, your rival. Arch rival is the maximum rival. Your absolute rival is your arch enemy or your arch rival. Very good vocabulary. 3 points ahead. Another preposition. 3 points ahead. Behind, in front, ahead. In front and ahead are practically the same. Okay. In second place. So in is connected with place. In my place, in this position, in this place, in first place, in second place. Okay. Suffered is the verb. You suffer, sufrir, and it's typical with the preposition from. Suffer from influenza, suffer from a disease, suffer from an illness, suffer from a condition. Okay. Embarrassing. You need to be very clear the difference between embarrassed and embarrassing. So the verb is to embarrass. Okay. And here it is, to embarrass. Verb. Two possible adjectives. Embarrassing and embarrassed. Okay. But it's completely different. And here we go. So embarrassed or embarrassing. So basically the situation, fuera, is embarrassing. The movie is embarrassing. The action is embarrassing. The situation is embarrassing. But my feeling, I'm embarrassed. Okay, my feeling myself is I'm embarrassed. The same with interested. So the ed, bored, aburrido. I'm bored. I'm interested. I'm excited. I'm embarrassed. It's my feeling. The opposite is fuera. It is embarrassing. It is boring. Okay, ing. So the difference between ed and ing. It is boring. It is exciting. It is embarrassing. But my feeling is ed. I am bored, excited, embarrassed. Okay, very, very important because this error is very frequent and it's very obvious. Okay, difficult to learn right now ahora mismo, pero es importante. Okay. Defeat, derrota. Derrotar is the verb to defeat, derrotar. And the substantivo aquí is defeat. And you suffer a defeat to. That's the construction. Suffer a defeat to Madrid. Suffer a defeat to Alcoyano in the Copa again. So preposition in. And Alcoyano, I believe there's an expression in Spanish. Tienes más morale que un Alcoyano. Algo como eso. No, it's you have more strength, more moral than as an Alcoyano. Okay. So the next paragraph, and we continue. So while the 3-0 or 3-0 home defeat at the hands of Juventus in the final Champions League group match didn't instill any great confidence for the forthcoming last 16 games against Paris Saint-Germain, the signs are that manager Ronald Koeman, a rather unpopular appointment, has begun to steady the ship. So again, 4 sentences, but we have a lot of excellent vocabulary. So here we can see the next paragraph, and I'll zoom in a little so we can see it better and make it a little bit bigger so you can see. Okay, so again, while at the start is mientras. The home defeat, derrota, and home is in casa. So the home in football, we say home and away. So you play jugar, play at home, in home, or play away from home. That's the construction. Okay, in Spanish it's in casa, but in English it's at home or play at home. Okay, and play away. At the hands of, a very good expression. So at the hands are manos. No sé en español si es posible para decir a los manos de. Quizás sí. So Juventus organized, Juventus managed, Juventus controlled the defeat. So it was their responsibility at the hands of Juventus. They were responsible for the defeat. Okay, for the match, in the group match, just a preposition, not too difficult. And let me see, I'll try and make it a bit smaller. Did not. Okay, so the verb to do is hacer, and normally for the negative, we also use the verb hacer for the negative. For example, I like chocolate. Affirmative, I like chocolate. The negative, I do not like chocolate. So for the negative, normally we include the verb do. I am Italian. I am not Italian. Well, that's different, sorry. I like Italian food. In the verb infinitive, I do not like Italian food. So the negative, normally we use the verb do, and the past is did, and the past negative is didn't or did not, and this is a contraction. Instill is typical with confidence. It's como formar, to give, to form, to create. Okay, confidence. Forthcoming is very good vocabulary. So come is the verb venir, and forthcoming is very formal, and it means it's coming soon. Okay, the forthcoming election, the forthcoming summer, the forthcoming movie. It's coming soon. Pronto, venir pronto. Okay, a little formal English, but very good quality. Last 16, I think maybe octavos in español. So the last 16, cuando tienes 17, 16 equipos falta. No, 16 equipos remaining. Okay, cuando tienes, when you have 16 teams, I think in English definitely last 16, maybe in Spanish octavos. Okay, final, in English, final, semi-final, quarter-final, last 16. So maybe the quarter-final is octavos, but in English, it's the final, semi-final, quarter-final, and then, no, quarter-final would be the 8 teams, but that's the structure, sorry. Final, semi-final, quarter-final, last 16, and here is the last 16. It's the next match in this season against Paris Saint-Germain. The signs, okay, interesting words. The signs are the signals, like the signals. Okay, so signal is normally for a person, you signal, but the sign is something you see. Okay, this on the street, on the road, you see the sign, the road signs. Okay, also it's a verb to firmar, sign. So the pronunciation is the G is silent. It's not phonetic, so the pronunciation is sign with the G is silent. Como fichar in Espanol. Rather unpopular, very important here. So rather is bastante, quite. So rather aquí is bastante, quite unpopular. También es posible, I would rather, I would prefer. So 3 possibilities. Rather is bastante. Second significance, I would rather, I would prefer. And then third possibility, rather than, in lugar de, instead of. Okay, so 3 uses, 3 different situations. Rather bastante in Espanol. I would rather, prefiero, and rather than, in lugar de. Okay, so 3 important examples. Appointment. So in relation to companies and business, you make an appointment. It's you create the position and you select the candidate. So if you select the candidate, official, it's the appointment. So you appoint that person. And here it's the substantivo, the appointment, substantivo. The verb is to appoint and substantivo, appointment. Okay, has begun. So here is an example of the present perfect. We have the extra auxiliary verb have in the present, and we have the participle begin. Begin, began, begun. Tercera columna, irregular. So begin, began, begun. And it's the auxiliary have. So it's the present perfect. It started in the past and it's relevant to today. because it continues. And the expression is to steady the ship. Ship is the bargo and steady is calmar. So are you, for example, ready, steady, go? That's the famous expression. So you're ready. Steady is like no movement. And in this case, in the ship, in the ocean, if the ship is chaotic and the water is chaotic, you need a captain to steady the ship, to calm the ship. Very famous expression, very good vocabulary, very colorful vocabulary, okay? The next paragraph, I will continue from here. So the Dutchman deserves a lot of credit for the way he's conducted himself and emerged as the leading presence during a traumatic period for the club, especially as few believed that he would succeed. He stood firm, justified his decisions logically, and never tried to blame a defeat on the club's wider predicament. But how does he continue to take the club forward amid such financial uncertainty? So here, amid is another preposition and it's in the middle of. So how does the manager continue to take the club forward? Forward is adelante, como desarrollar, to develop, take the club forward, progress. Amid, in the middle of this, such as como esto, aquí, financial uncertainty. So it's the negativo. It's a lot of doubt. Okay, so very good question. The first word is Dutchman. So the person from Holland, the country is Hollandia. The country in English is Holland or the Netherlands, two possibilities. Holland or the Netherlands, but the nationality is Dutch, okay? And the Dutchman is the person, the man from Holland. The female would be Dutch woman, okay? Deserve is the verb merecer in Espanol. Merecer, you deserve a lot of respect. You deserve a lot of good things. And here, a lot of credit. So you deserve a lot of credit for. That's the structure. So you deserve a lot of credit, a lot of praise, very good vocabulary, praise for the way he's conducted himself. So the verb to conduct yourself, to conduct himself, to conduct myself, reflexive with conduct. And here it's conduct himself, porque is L. If it's feminine, conduct herself, okay? And that's reflexive pronoun. Emerged in the past simple, and the verb is to emerge. I think it's similar in Spanish, just the pronunciation with the G, to emerge, okay, as the leading presence during a traumatic, okay, so trauma is the substantivo, trauma, and traumatic is the adjective period for the club, especially as few. So here, as is like como, but the significance here is porque. So it's possible as has the significance of porque because few means very little. Few people, few believed, so almost casi nadie, few believed he would, conditional, he would succeed. Very important verb because this substantivo is success. The team have success. The adjective is successful. The team is successful, but the verb is to succeed. Okay, so you succeed, they have success, and they are successful. And normally the verb to be is with the adjective. You are happy, you are hungry, you are successful. Normally the verb to have is with the substantivo. You have success. And here it's the verb succeed. Also, after succeed, it's typical in plus the gerundio. Succeed in winning, succeed in doing, succeed in having. Okay? Stood firm, very, very good expression. So stood is the past simple irregular. The verb is to stand. So if you stand, it's with your pieds in the tierra, stand. And the past is stood. Okay, como understand, understood. So the verb to stand and stood. Firm is very strong. Como dar el mano in English is handshake, and a firm handshake is a strong handshake. If the person is very firm, they're very strong. And if you stand firm, you have a lot of problems, a lot of difficulty, a tormenta, pero you stand firm, you no movement, you're very rigid, but positive, you survive, okay? And that's the feeling or the sensation here, okay? So he stood firm. The verb to blame is culpar in Espanol, and normally you culpar algo on. So in English, you blame something on me, blame something on you, blame something on him. Blame algo on. That's the typical combination with the preposition, okay? Culpar, blame. Wider, so very important. Wide is amplio. So I'll write here. Wide in Espanol is amplio, and más amplio is wider. Okay, más amplio, comparative. And here it's wider, más amplio, predicament, the wider predicament. Okay, so very interesting. Maybe we will try one more. Okay, so go back to the text and the Dutchman, that was the paragraph here. And now so this is the new section of the story, transfer troubles. Trouble is like problems, difficulties. So the trouble or the problems or the difficulties with the transfers. Again, while, mientras, many coaches, and remember the concept between countable and uncountable. Is it possible to count coaches? Yes, one coach, two coaches. So it's necessary many. How many books, how many pens, how many jobs? Countable. Pero uncountable in English is agua, air, chocolate. It's impossible to count. Dinero, it's impossible to count. So in that case, we say much. How much money? How much chocolate? Much air? But this case, it's how many, okay? Would find excuses. So you find excuses in, that's the structure, to find excuses in. The lack of, very important expression. Falta, the falta de, okay? The lack of time, the lack of money, the lack of energy, falta de. Here we have sign, como firmar, and substantivo is a signing, como fichado, in football, fichado, and plural, signings, the pronunciation, signings. So the lack, falta de nuevas fichados, or fichadas, okay? Coleman accepted there was no chance. Again, no is with the substantivo, no time, no food, chance, opportunity, substantivo, of a game changing. Okay, so here we have the article, the indefinite article of for the substantivo, and the substantivo is addition. We have two adjectives. New is one adjective, and the second adjective is game changing. Very, very interesting adjective, because cambia is change, cambiar partido. Entonces, cuando tienes the hyphen in English, this is the hyphen, es posible combinar los dos palabras. Okay, entonces es una palabra. Game changing, new addition, in, preposition for the month, in January, in February, in December, in September. So for the month, it's in. Once, una vez, or cuando, the presidential elections were delayed, a retraso. Okay, the verb retrasar, to delay, and here's the participle, delayed, until March, hasta marzo. Instead, en lugar de, well, in lugar, instead, this is a bit difficult, he set to work. So set is very small word, but it's used thousands of times, many, many different uses and significances. So there's one example, to set off is a phrasal verb. In the morning, you set off for work at 8 o'clock. You leave for work, or you start your journey. So to set off is to start your journey. So 1 second, to set off is to start your journey. So here in the article, we have set to work. So almost iniciar, started. He started to work. On is the preposition. And you work on your English, you work on your mathematics, you work on, so it's construct, you work on, focus on, okay? This expression, very, very important. In Espanol, it's aprovechar, and here it's make the most of, aprovechar. Okay, gerundio, making the most of. Very good vocabulary, aprovechar, and then what he has got. So it's the present perfect, has got, started in the past, and it continues in the present. And got is very flexible also. Set and get are very, very important. The verb is to get, and the past simple is got, and it's to receive or obtain. So he should aprovechar que tienes, what he has, what the players, the jugadores que tiene. Okay, very good. So this is a long article, and we can continue if you want, but it is quite important. So let me show you just to review. This was the final paragraph to remind you, lack of, until, delayed, got. Okay, and here he has managed. So again, this is an example of the present perfect. Subject, auxiliary or extra verb has, como verbo have in the present, como haber in Espanol, managed, manejar, he has managed to kickstart, very difficult vocabulary, very important. So start is iniciar, but Cuando algo fallar para iniciar, when you fail to start, necesitas dar algo más para kickstart. You need a kick, and a kick is a espera, because kick is el verbo in inglés con football, and here it's patear. Okay, so necesitas un patear para patear alguien para iniciar, a kickstart. Very, very good expression, very conversational. Faltering is like fallando, failing, very similar to fail. So to falter and to fail are practically the same. To falter and to fail, fallar in Espanol, like an exam, fail an exam, but falter is tener problemas, to have problems. Okay. Though is aunque, so and also to a certain extent, very good expression. So to an extento particular, to a certain extent. So not totally, not nothing, but to a certain extent, nivel. Okay, such as is used for examples. So when you give examples, for example, my hobbies, my activities in my free time, I like to do activities such as swimming, running, walking, different activities. So such as and like, two possibilities, such as and like, for examples. Okay, though is okay. Your demeanor is your body language. So if your demeanor is very good, it's your body language, your form, your shape, it's your demeanor. You have a very good demeanor, very advanced vocabulary, and very good. In is the particular preposition for rueda de prensa in Espanol, and a rueda de prensa is a press conference or a news conference. Two possibilities, press conference or news conference, because the press is the verb to press, but it's also the name for the media in English, because they print, imprimir, and it's the same action, the press. Entonces, el nombre de press is the name for the media in English, como newspapers, television, the press, or the media, okay, or the news. Very good. So that's a really good example of a article, colorful, full of vocabulary, full of expressions, and a football article. So every week I prepare 1 or 2 videos in relation to football. You can see in my playlist, in my videos on Facebook, all my previous videos for football, commentating and analysis of vocabulary and expressions specific for football. And today is the same. So thank you very much. I hope you continue to watch my videos. Tomorrow I have a free class in the morning. Everything is free. I'm happy to teach for free at the moment. If you want to make a propina or a little tip or a donation, it's very welcome. You can. My details are here. If you want maybe €1 to give, 1 or €2, PayPal or Bizum is possible if you want. Optional, not necessary, but it's an option. So thank you again very much, and I hope you enjoy the material. If you have any comments, please put your comment below the video, and hopefully talk to you soon. And thank you very much, and have a great day. Bye.